So why am I giving this talk? Here's the deal. Back in, I don't know, like a year ago or so. Well, for one, I've always wondered about this. How many of you have seen this picture of Troutdale? Also, some of you haven't. Some of you aren't aware that this, can you believe that's actually real? That this actually happened within the Portland metro area. Usually when we see ice storms, it's, you know, an inch or two is like really devastating. That's a lot more than an inch or two. But I always wondered about this, like what caused this. So I started looking into it. And then last fall, an older woman from the Troutdale Historical Society, Helen Wan, said, hey, could you give a talk about the January 1950 blizzard? And I kind of knew that something happened around the 13th of mid-month in January 1950. Most of us are probably familiar with the big cold spell in January 1950. It's okay to say no, that's fine. That's why you're here. Okay, and so I was like, wait, so the 1950 thing, I couldn't, there wasn't that much. I'm like, I'm not going to be able to fill the whole presentation. So then I thought, well, let's talk about this ice storm. And they didn't care because they just wanted somebody to fill the time. So I gave this presentation back in early January or February, back at the Troutdale Historical Society, but I just tweaked and I added a few more, you know, geeky things for us that they wouldn't understand. I had to take a lot of stuff out actually from the first presentation because I'm like, they're not going to care about geopotential heights. So then when I started putting this together, I'm like, wait, what about, I started talking about snowstorms and ice storms. I thought, oh, let's just make this all encompassing because I don't want to leave out people from Eugene or Salem, like, because I can't think of a single circumstance in which a major snowstorm occurred both all the way down at Eugene and at Portland at the same time, you know, like one of the top three. They happen at different times because the cold air is different depths and, you know. So, okay, so let's just jump into it. Feel free, raise your hand, whatever. This can be a little interactive, okay? Steve, what are you doing? Oh, you're getting another drink.
Did you hear the music in the PA?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's what we're turning off.
Okay, so how did this thing happen? So first, we don't want to forget. Right now, 70 years ago, who was here 70 years ago? Charlie? Yeah. Steve, you were not. 70 years, looking good for early retirement. Yeah. Okay. So in 1955, we had an Arctic freeze. Wait, where's Portland? Oh, did I already screw up the first graphic?
You might have. Hold on.
Or is it just not working? Well, it's not working.
It's not working.
I didn't touch this.
Okay. No, Peyton usually fixes my graphics.
She probably deleted it like that. We don't need that.
I could have brought a KPTV computer.
If you have do you have animations on this?
No.
Okay, it's trying to find something.
How old is that laptop? Is that the old one?
No, this is a new one.
Oh.
All right, hold on here. We'll go back. There we go.
There we go, Portland. Oh yeah, okay, there we go. So I just highlighted Portland. We had 6 days at or below 30 degrees at this time of year, which is pretty amazing when you think about it.
You have animation set on these, by the way. The auto advance.
I do?
Yeah.
Wait, I didn't. Maybe it's just the first one or two.
Okay.
No. So that's fine. And so, yeah. So that was pretty shocking. That freeze that started on a Friday, or no, it was Veterans Day, the 11th. There was a parade downtown, changed to snow, I think, during the parade, and then everything froze. Just amazing. This did tremendous damage to the areas of fruit. You know, think there's still apples on some of the trees. There's walnuts, destroyed a bunch of the walnut crop. So just hugely devastating. Look at government camp here. So you can tell it was a deep Arctic air mass. It wasn't a fake cold that where it comes in through the Columbia. I don't know why. Don't worry. Let's not worry about it. Okay. It'll keep me moving.
Yes.
So anyway, just didn't want to forget that. This was about the earliest we can have an Arctic blast. And some of these graphics are just included for the people, like when I was giving the Historical Society presentation. We do get an east wind that affects our winter time. We get colder, that gets trapped east of the Cascades. It stopped though, didn't it? Mm-hmm. Is this connected?
No, it's
and
up again.
Go ahead. I'll just say next.
Okay.
Like when I was in art class, the lady would say next. And what comes right after this? Well prepared, as you can see.
Yeah. Let's talk snow.
What is it?
Let's talk snow.
Okay. That was just a general, you're probably aware we get the cold air that comes through the gorge and that often leads to a lot of either our snow or ice storms. There we go. So snow, we don't get much here. Okay, we're going to gloss over this. This is for people that aren't very weather aware. Everybody knows why we don't get much snow here, right? Mild ocean. If the air came from the east most of the winter, we get lots of snow. Yeah, okay. Boy, these are some old graphics, Peyton. Remember these from when you were young?
Yeah.
Your childhood?
She didn't watch Fox 12.
Yeah, she watched us growing up.
I'd love to say I grew up watching Mark. Not like that.
So, anyway, yeah, so you see like 3 different graphics generations here. So, we can get the snow, the pattern where we get the cool onshore flow showers at Christmas, I don't know, was it 3 years ago where we had the heavy snow in the valley? Lots of snow at 1,000 feet, but it just barely sticks at sea level. Yeah, okay, so what's next? I'll be more organized once we get past these general public slides. This is a setup where we get our big storms, where cold air is coming from the north or east, and then moisture rides over the top of that. Peyton is horrified that these are like all from the old graphics. She likes to fix up all the new stuff. All right, and that's how we get our big ice storms, okay? Sometimes we have this combination of snow and the freezing rain. Okay, oh, this is the graphic. That is in there, that's good. So, and this applies to what we're going to talk about, that big 1921 ice storm. So if the cold air isn't that cold, it comes out of the gorge, and only the far east metro will often get freezing rain, typically not snow, because the thicker cold air is back here and it changes to snow. If you drive through the gorge during an ice storm in east Multnomah County, typically, most of the time it's going to change to snow partway through the gorge. It's thicker cold air. All right, what's next? But then if it's a bigger blast and the cold air is thicker, you can get sleet all the way out to, close to Troutdale, and we're getting freezing rain in the middle of the metro, and it's still just rain out here because the cold air hasn't made it down into the valley. That's how we get an ice storm across. The big 1979 ice storm, was that January 9th?
January 7th.
I was living in Mount Angel at the time, and it was warm rain and kind of flooding. And I was so mad because I was hearing about all this excitement up in Portland. So that could sit there for 2 days or 3 days, and you have a huge ice storm. And that also happened in '96. If I recall, I don't think in which 96 am I thinking of? Oh, December of '96. I think there was freezing rain to about here, but not on the west side.
Try the clicker real quick.
Try it again?
Yeah.
Hey, it worked. In fact, I have never seen, somebody can tell me I'm wrong, but I've never seen a significant ice storm west of the West Hills. I mean, I've worked at the station for 25 years, we've never had a significant ice storm. I mean, a day or so, but.
It was in the 80s, I lived in Aloha, we had one.
Like.
Not as bad as it was, no, not as bad as Portland.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I've seen ice here where, it's all iced over, yes, but I mean, it never goes off for more than a day or so.
Phil is challenging you.
Okay, challenge me. In February of '96?
Yeah. I know because we.
Oh, just before the ice storm? Just
And then
before the
it
flood?
warmed up and then it flooded,
Oh,
but
okay.
right before that, we had an ice storm. And it was a half inch.
Okay.
I know because I drove the whole afternoon.
All right.
So,
Yeah.
we were moving.
Oh, good
The
timing.
day we were moving.
Good timing.
Wow, great
So,
timing.
but generally, it's just it's not a big ice storm area out there on the west side, or out here, I guess, on the west side. And then if it's a major blast of cold air, you got snow all the way into Vancouver, hotspot. Clark County can get tons of snow, just like the gorge, because the cold air is pretty thick here. It's thinner, you get sleet, and then you get freezing rain down in the valley. We've seen that a bunch of times. This is an old graphic. It's happening, February 2021,
Yep.
a huge ice storm. So, depends on how thick the cold air is. Here's just a fun picture I took. I'm sorry, I didn't take this. I was working. But at the end of the 2004 ice storm, what's funny about that picture?
Melted up top.
Yeah, it's the reverse. This is Carson looking across the Columbia, the Cascade Locks is across there, and you can see how thick the cold air was. It's raining up in the mountains, but it's freezing rain down here. Yeah, pretty cool, huh? So it's reversed. And then ice pellets are a big deal. Ice pellets are better than freezing rain because they don't accumulate on surfaces. They don't cause the damage, as much damage. But they do make big, like snow drifts out of the gorge. Yeah, it's Sheila. It's Moshi. We call her Moshi. Okay.
Oh,
look at
that's
Andrew.
young Mark.
Andrew, little Andrew. We all remember the 08 snowstorm, right?
Yeah.
10 inches or so on this side of town, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then 30 inches. There were like 26, 28 inches, Redland.
I got
Sandy.
43 in Newburgh.
I had 26 inches on Christmas Day. And there's Andrew, my son, measuring it. Saying, Dad, always make sure you have Crocs on when you're measuring snow. All right. So, AI trash. I just have to talk about this. If you go to Google right now, I believe it's still. I thought I just found this the other day again. Oregon State snowfall record, April 8th, 2009. And I'm like, I knew it wasn't that because it's always been a different number, Bonneville Dam and Hood River. And then I'm like, April 8th. That's kind of weird. And I actually looked up the observations. They must have coded for one, look at the lows and the highs. This was the station. And somehow I think this made it over into here. I did think at first it's like, oh, well, this produced that much snow, and then I'm like, that doesn't match. So somehow one was copied over, and that makes it anywhere in the world. That's what you see for the Oregon snowfall record. Trash.
It does say in the disclaimer, AI responses may include mistakes.
Yeah. There you go. Disclaimer right there. It seemed like for a long time it was 39 inches of Bonneville Dam. I used that for like 20 years, and then I thought like 15 years ago they were like, wait a minute, that was wrong. It was Hood River or not. 47 inches on January 9th, 1980. Woo!
I love that photo.
1996 ice storm. All right, so just some recent big storms, okay? And then we're going to make a deep dive here into the biggies. A lot of you probably remember these different events. Yeah? Bringing the memories back? Are they coming back?
Yep.
All right, so here are the big snowstorms. Here are the official records out of PDX. 1940 to now. That's the airport started operating then, so that's when the record started. And since that time, the biggest, I took 3-day totals. You're like, why not 1 day or 2 days? I figured, well, if it started late one day and crossed through the next day and finished up the next day, so 3 days should kind of capture one storm in case it went through parts of days. And a 3-day total for 1943 and then 1950, 68. Charlie Ferris has his own records, observer forms that he entered in 1968. Yeah, right then. Yeah. So you can look at his actual handwriting from 1968. The high was 5 one of those days, right?
He's got him right here.
All right. And then 08 and 2020. Oh, yeah. And then, yeah. So then downtown, now downtown records go back to 1884. So those are some bigger numbers there in 1892, 1884, and then you see, it's interesting, when I was looking through the Portland and Salem and Eugene, I think Hillsborough and Vancouver too, the same dates keep appearing, but in different orders, right? 1919, notice the 1937 storm, about 17 inches, okay? And in fact, in 1937, Sally was not happy here. They called it the Big Snow in 1937. It was started January 31st, went through into the first day of February. This is from the Oregonian, not happy. She looks great, but that is some thick snow there. So Portland had about 17 inches of snow in 2 days. So big snowstorm there. I love when they describe things. Actually, this is Salem, I believe, yeah. In Salem, it was even bigger. 1 day, 25 inches of snow, and that's their greatest one-day snowfall in Salem. So 1937 for them. January 1937 was a cool month. Salem was kind of in and out of the Arctic air. This was at the end of the month. And then immediately after that, 2.5 inches of rain followed. So like how it says, many structures collapsed, large marquee. Well, you can read it there. Second greatest snowfall was 1919. And if you look back, Portland had 1919 too, I believe. Well, there it is, yeah. So same dates there. So 1937 was a big snowstorm. Then how many of you remember this? We're closer in time now. Let me hit the button. Eugene, January 1969. 14 inches, then 14 inches, and then 10 inches. So grand total 38 inches in 3 days. Pete Parsons, yeah, Eugene. Pete Parsons, that your dream come true?
I remember that storm in Portland, and we built a snow fort that was over my head.
Well, you were only 2 feet tall, though. Well, no, I guess maybe 4 feet tall. 4 feet, okay. Yeah. It started in Arctic air. I noticed the temperature started in the lower 20s, rose to 35 as the snow was kind of finishing up. Oh no, those last 2 days. So that was turned into a very heavy wet snow. And then it froze again immediately following. You think that was messy? Yeah. This is interesting. 4 of the top 10 snowfalls in Eugene are in the past 15 years. I mean, Eugene isn't really a real snowy climate. Probably less so than Portland. I don't have that data to back that up, so I probably shouldn't have said that. But it just seems like it's tougher to get big snows in Eugene. All right, so what happened here? Troutdale, November 1921. Look at the icing on that. I mean, I've lived in Corbett for most of the last 30-something years, and I've never seen ice that. 1996 was kind of like that, but not that thick. So I'd say it's by far the worst ice storm on record in our area. Nothing like it I've seen in the past 100 years in any weather records. There's some man standing on some icy frozen hell street. So I would argue it should have been a flood, but the cold air intervened. So I don't have hardly any of those pretty TV graphics from this point forward. This is all hardcore stuff. So I went back and I looked and I'm like, what happened? And when I first looked at Portland's weather records for 1921, I remember I left and went to some other year because I thought, they must have the year wrong. Nothing happened this month. And because look how mild it is. But then look closely at the 19th to the 21st. So 52 one day. What?
Just like 2
I know. The whole month was, they didn't have the anomaly at this point, but that looks to see if I don't have the average. That's a pretty warm month.
Yeah.
Kind of like now. It'd be like now.
November.
So 52, then 33, 38, 29, then 57. But then look at the rain. 2.68, 3.41, and then a bunch more following. I don't know what the trace of snowfall was. This was in the city. Okay,
Yeah.
so then at the airport, I'm sorry. I thought I had the airport.
That was the airport.
I think that was at the airport.
No,
No,
this is
that's
city.
the-
See at the top? This
Yeah.
is in the city. Oh, I'm sorry. In 1921, there was no airport.
Yeah.
So where was that observation taken?
In
Swan
1921, was it
That'd
at
be
the
Swan
top
Island.
of the?
Swan Island?
Oh,
Yeah,
was Swan
Swan
Island in
Island.
21?
Island? Yeah.
There's nobody here. Nobody here. I had to check. Nobody was alive. Sorry, Charlie. I had to calculate backwards. Like, wait, 100? Okay, no.
That's where they had
Only
the airstrip,
Charlie
right?
and I.
Wasn't Arnold?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm like, what was going on? I don't understand. In Portland Airport, we only got down to 33. I don't know. Yeah, I don't understand what was going on. So I checked Salem, and Salem was just warm, but there was a ton of rain. And then I checked the Portland Headworks, where the Bull Run Dam, and it didn't even freeze. So I don't understand how is there a big ice storm? But look at the rainfall totals: about 3 inches, 5 inches, 3 inches, 1 inch. So 12 inches of rain, which I believe is still the all-time record for that location for 4 days. So it was quite obviously an atmospheric river. We would all agree that like the correct way to use the term atmospheric river is like it was a big event, a Pineapple Express probably. Here's Salem. Yeah, what did I say? 1920? Nothing. Look how warm it was. I don't know why I have those highlighted to go with the rain. 6 inches of rain in 4 days. So clearly there was some sort of atmospheric river overhead. But you look at Government Camp, and I'm like, well, yeah, it's still pretty warm up there. I think this is. I'm sorry, I got to go back to Portland again. Yeah, the cold was 19th, 20th, 21st. So back to the mountains. There it is. Yeah, it was a little cool just leading up to it, but then 30s and 40s at Government Camp. Look at the amount of precipitation. Okay. And then a whole bunch of snow. It went up to 54 inches, so the snow was up to about here, and at the end it was 8 inches left. So atmospheric river, Pineapple Express for sure up there. And cold air did not come up there, and just so this was for the people that, the Historical Society folks, what's an atmospheric river? We know what they are. It's a bunch of rain.
Would you say that on the news?
What?
Would you say that in your forecast? That's
Yeah,
just
actually I probably would. It's just a bunch of rain. Let's not
Where are
dramatize
the
it.
pineapples?
Show satellite photo.
Yeah,
what's the satellite?
Sorry, no satellite photos of that event. It was 1921. All right, so then I'm like, wait a minute. So I thought, let's see what was going on east of the Cascades, and look at Hood River. 2 days here where it's below freezing, and look at that precipitation and the 21 inches of snow and 6, and yet there's all this precipitation, yet no additional snow. So there's probably I'm guessing it went from snow to freezing rain there. Okay, 9 inches of precip. The Dalles is even more amazing because 54 inches of snow in 3 days. Remember, the Dalles is pretty dry. Look at that precipitation. That was about half of the yearly precip in 4 days. So just knowing how kind of things work, clearly Arctic air had pushed up against the east side of the Cascades, and an atmospheric river rode right over the top of that.
Gotta be glorious.
Yeah.
Somebody wave a hand? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Notice that the high temps in the Dalles during that event were still getting into the low 40s.
I don't understand what was going on. I don't think that was, something's wrong there. I saw those too, but that's not possible. Oh, wait, no, wait, I guess, it did go down in depth. Another issue with this, like cooperative observer reports, you don't know this far back in time, when was it actually taken the next day? They did the high for it. But that is a good point. It didn't stay frozen there. Why did it stay? That's why the Hood River one seemed to make more sense. It stayed frozen for 2 days. I don't understand what was going on there. A mystery. So,
Because they only take it once a day.
yeah, so it was, I would say, the greatest ice storm on record in the Western Gorge, or anywhere in the metro area. And aimed right at Northwest Oregon. I assume there was a Pineapple Express overhead for 3 to 4 days. And then an unusually early and cold Arctic air mass came in, east of the Cascades, very thin layer, only into the East Portland metro. It didn't, Hillsborough, no. Oregon City, no. And some of those 3-day snowfall records are still stand in the Eastern Gorge from that event in mid-November in a warm month. And in fact, when we get into the public part of this is fun.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, who has seen this inside that tunnel? You go to
Oh,
those twin
definitely.
tunnels?
In fact, that's how I remember this event, was learning about it walking through those tunnels.
Like in grade school, did they take you out there and tell you how
Well,
bad it
like
used to be?
middle school, I was with my family, we walked through the tunnel and it was like, oh, they were trapped inside this big November snowstorm.
It's still there. It's still carved in there. It says snowbound November 19th through 27th, 1921. Cars. Because people were driving, 21. I mean, there's that Yellowstone show, 1923. And so, people are starting to drive cars in the early 20s. And so they weren't, they probably didn't have chains. Plus, it was pretty
They
extreme.
probably have tires.
I love these. This is from the Portland, Oregon Weather and Climate, the Raymond Hatton book. It's a great book. You just read them. 8-passenger trains. That train was a big travel option back then. I love this one. Card parties and phonograph were brought to the 63 stranded train passengers. There was a train stuck at Bridalveil. And this one is my favorite. Nothing has changed in society. The men were just drinking and telling stories, and the women began to get pretty anxious, saying, "We need to get out of here." They were smart. They were like, "We need to get out of here." Steamers were sent from Portland to go get people from these different places in the gorge because there was no way to travel through the gorge at that point. Trains were stuck, and traffic couldn't move. In fact, the old historic highway, remember there was no freeway in 1921, it was still closed in early January, so it was closed for about a month and a half. I assume Highway 14 probably opened. They don't have quite the issues with sleet over on that other side of the gorge. I assume there was a highway over there at the time, probably. So a month and a half, no travel on the Oregon side of the gorge for this. For all of a 2 to 3 day event. What's next? How thick was the ice? So I'm like, okay. Well, in 96, the ice was about 2 inches thick in Gresham and Troutdale and 4 to 6 inches in Corbett. I have a picture of a 4x4 sign, just a signpost in Corbett, and on the upwind side it's a little thicker of ice than the 4-inch sign. It was very localized. I would guess south of you go much south of, for sure south of Powell and Gresham, it was probably just rain. Very thin layer right along the river east metro. That was from the Oregonian, the headline. I love this guy getting out his high-power rifle, and ice cakes 18 inches thick and 200 pounds fell to the ground. Got to blow that off those power lines.
Was that Gordon?
I don't think it was Gordon. No. It fell to 22 degrees up there in Corbett, so imagine 5, 6, 7 inches of rain and it all was freezing. I saw a picture, I don't think I should, it's just like sticks. The fruit trees were just this and everything else was just gone. This was interesting because it was so mild. Like now, the farmers were just working on getting their crop, the last of the season, squash and potatoes and stuff, and so they just had things sitting out, in barns, and they instantly just froze. They wouldn't have expected that early in the season. And there's one picture from the Corbett area.
Oh.
So
To me, it doesn't look like there was a lot of wind, though maybe.
Well, there would have been.
No,
that
east
cold
wind.
air.
Yeah, there had been some, obviously. But.
Yeah, it was probably strong.
It looks like in that.
It would have to be.
In the first picture you showed with the guy standing by the door, it looks like his coat was blown.
Oh yeah, it was, wasn't it? A little bit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I feel like that's your driveway leading up to your house.
That's his car.
Been there, picture that.
The car's
I think
still
that's
there.
it.
Then Ma Sheila will probably make us move if that happens this winter.
Grandpa Nelson's brain, right?
Yeah. So you get deeper into the gorge, and this happened in '96. It happens other times to a lesser extent. You get a little deeper into the gorge. You got an ice storm in Troutdale on the East Metro out to the airport. Oh, by the way, so the ice extended along the Columbia River to about where PDX is now, we would guess, just because the way the temperatures were. The 33 low at in downtown says northeast Portland has some thick ice in there in this, but slightly thicker cold air. You're gonna have sleet instead, and those are massive sleet drifts that come down the hills.
We saw that this past winter.
Yeah, it happens every time.
Yeah.
And I've seen video once. Yeah, it's just like sand coming down each of those where you go hiking, like Waukena Falls, all those places. It's like sand coming down. What was interesting about this? Oh yeah. So how did it end? The same way it always does, with the warming Chinook wind. You don't hear that term very often.
Oh my gosh.
Chinook wind. I use it sometimes on the air to keep it alive, but I'm probably the only one.
I just get confused with casino.
You want to explain what that is?
Chinook wind, how many of you know the Chinook wind was actually named for our southwest wind first, our warming wind in winter, and then they took it in the Rockies and made it the downslope wind off the Rockies. That started here, actually. The warming, sudden change after a cold spell here. I don't know if it came from Lewis Clark, sometime after that, but it started here and then was used in the Rockies.
What did we rename the east wind? Remember when we had that contest years ago?
Coho.
Yeah.
Was it Coho? Okay.
Gorgie the dragon.
That is not what we named
Thank
it.
you.
So,
Real close.
yeah, so that's the same way our cold spells always end that way. The south wind comes in or southwest, and suddenly it's 50 degrees, and you see it described. Half an hour temperature risen from 40 to 56. I like this. The clouds, which have been moving from the east, were suddenly moving rapidly from the southwest. We've all seen that when we paid attention at the end of these cold spells. Yeah. And by the way, did you know Chinook is actually pronounced Chinook with the hard CH like cheese?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, any area.
I had somebody, just a friend, an older lady, she said, oh, I hate it when people say Chinook, because she's a Chinook Indian, and she goes, it's Chinook, with the, you hit the CH so hard. Jeez, yeah. What's on the screen? I forget. Oh, yeah. Okay, so that's 1921. Let's jump ahead to 1950. So 1950, third coldest month on record in Portland. It's a snowiest month in Portland, back to 1940. It's a fourth snowiest downtown. Are these just, yeah, the average monthly temps in the city and the maximum 1 month snowfall. And you see 1950 was way up there. Tied for snowiest of the 1900s with, snowiest of this last century. And in 28 days, okay, it's 28 days with measurable precip. It was an extremely wet month, even though it was extremely cold. Yes, Pete?
I looked up on that, and don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty certain, I went back and double checked. I believe January 1950 at the Portland Airport, there was either a trace of snowfall or at least a trace of snow on the ground.
There was. Or, I mean, snow on the ground. I think I have that coming up. Might be.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, that's okay. That's okay. This is interactive. No, that's okay, Pete. And January 19, yeah, we had numerous cold weather systems dropping down the coastline and into the Pacific Northwest, kind of a west-northwesterly flow.
BC
All right.
sliders.
Probably.
Which
And there was a
one?
particularly strong one, and the path was important for Portland on Friday the 13th, January 1950. So they called it the Friday the 13th storm at the time. Most of us know the Friday the 13th storm as the 1981 storm, the windstorm, right? Some of you are like, I've never heard that, but okay. Just play along. So that was one of our big three windstorms,
Which we're overdue for.
which we're overdue for. So, snowiest month in Portland in the last 100 years. Pacific Northwest was in cold Arctic air most of the month. There were only 2 brief warm-ups in Portland in 1950. Coldest nights on record at the end of the month. You'll see those numbers coming up. We just had frequent wet storm systems. It's not like we were under high pressure and we were just stuck under cold, clear skies. That wasn't the case. Unusually high number of precip days. So, here we go. 500 millibar geopotential height anomalies. Yeah, now it's serious, right? So, what's the matter, Steve? Did I turn the, is the
You
angle
gotta
on?
tilt your head a little bit to see it. But
Well,
yeah, I get
we
it.
know we live here, right?
I know.
West Coast, Alaska, USA, Mexico.
Yeah.
Okay,
What?
so
Where's Canada?
just it's up there.
Was Canada there in 1950?
It's I know, hard to believe now they're their own country and they want to stay their own country. So, but let's not get political. Let's not talk any stupid talk. No. So in 1949.
Is that a shame?
So I talked when I was sitting on the lunch, or when I was sitting on the deck with having lunch with old Bev Muck. She's passed on, but way back in the 90s, there was a neighbor in Corbin, and I said, oh, January 1950. That was, I was young. It's like that was like a big cold month up here, right? She goes, oh, 49 was worse. And I go, really? She said, oh, January 49 was colder. So I'm like, what? So this is interesting. So there was only 1 inch of precipitation in January 49. There was 10 inches of snow, 9.8 inches, so pretty much everything fell as snow, I guess. And look at the orientation of an upper level high here, and then a deep low. The anomaly was centered over California. So, and then 1950, a similar setup, but a minor difference makes a big change for our weather. The high was a little bit farther west and north, and the anomaly was centered just to our north. So in this case, 1950, you had lots of cold, dry northerly flow, and these systems were coming in like this. I just kind of guessed at this. Okay. And whereas everything was shifted farther north, and the cold air, would pick up moisture a lot as it comes in. Oh, now it's getting serious. What? Carl?
That January 1949, you should look up some of the records from California.
Yeah.
Insane amounts of snow, multiple snowstorms.
Like Pasadena had snow, right?
What?
Like Pasadena had snow, I think I've seen that.
Right.
San Fernando Valley has.
Whereas in 1950, the cold didn't go as far south that we got.
Exactly.
I agree with Carl, and I was gonna make a comment that Crater Lake froze completely over. The only time in modern history that Crater Lake was completely froze over was January 49. Look it up.
Look it up.
Look it up.
Well, let's check
No
it out.
pics.
But nobody drove a car
Look
across
it
it
up on
or
the
flew a plane.
0.6. Oh, it's But no, seriously, it's
Must have
when you
been
see the picture, it's like,
Oh,
wow.
wait, in
that's a
49?
deep lake.
In 49 or 50?
No, January 49.
49, yeah.
Peel back
So,
up.
just interesting how the anomalies, each winter is different, but these big cold winters, just interesting. And in fact, here, I didn't show this to the regular folks. This is only for the hardcore weather geeks, as half of you announced that you were. This was
That's why we did that.
This was a national description of like how the month goes, across the country in North America. Oh no, I guess it was global. Yeah, isn't that interesting? Just the highlighted parts. What's that centers?
Almost on record.
Oh yeah, and then the last part.
Sorry, losers.
Very warm in the eastern and the southern United States. Yeah. So here's Portland. This is downtown Portland records, the highs, the lows, snowfall and snow depth.
That 54 had to feel really warm.
Yeah, where was it in the middle? Yeah, imagine that after being really cold. So there's just, look how much precipitation almost every day. Wait, is there? There's at least a trace every day?
Yes, there
Every
is.
single day.
Isn't that crazy? 11 inches of precipitation. Boy, I bet people are getting really cranky then.
Yeah.
Thank God they didn't do their first alerts, their impact alert stuff on TV.
You be the hotel.
People would shut their TV off. Oh wait, maybe they do.
Mark, they're
The
gonna
entire
use
7-day
they're
forecast
gonna use
forever.
the 96.
Yes.
So here's the airport. Remember that was downtown at the airport. Wait, was Pete right? Oh, close. Oh no, he said there was a trace. Yep, there's a few days missing there, but it was close. But
-2 there.
yeah. So why did I highlight certain ones? Yeah, the 13th, the low 14, high 36, but all that precip, snow.
I think what I said was there was either a trace, from what I remember, either a trace on the ground or a trace fell.
Oh, no,
Oh, I see what you're saying. You're right. Yep, you're right. Yeah, that covers this. You are correct, sir. In the back corner. So, to continue on then, so what happened as we went out in February? Well, then there's our all-time low, February 2nd. So, we got to about here and suddenly it was over. I noticed almost all these years where we had some big, massive January cold spell, we break out of it in early February. And it doesn't seem to it doesn't tend to come back again. Like, okay, it's done. But they must have felt really good after this. But yeah, you can see the last of the snow. So there was snow on the ground at PDX from here. Is that the 12th?
Yeah.
All the way until about the 10th. So about a month, there was at least some sort of snow on the ground in the city.
What was the cloud cover during those super below zero temperatures?
It was clear.
Okay.
And also I noticed the really cold stuff in Portland, the east wind died down, so it went calm out of PDX.
And snow on the ground.
I was born February 3rd, 1949. My mom always said they did not know if they were going to be able to get to the hospital.
Oh, cold. I bet there were a lot of babies born about.
Yeah, that was
October, September.
Wait, were you born in September 1950?
Late August.
August of
Yeah.
50? Oh yeah. Wait, no, that was Christmas then.
I mean, that 20 was it.
Okay. Yeah, there we go. Looks like I had all my titles reversed. And then Cascade Locks, you go into the gorge. Oh my gosh, look how. So most of that fell of snow. There, 92 inches of, that's near sea level. 92 inches of snow, and look how deep the snow got. About 4 feet on the ground at mid-month.
9 degrees for a high.
Yeah, was that after?
That was the 30.
You got 4 feet of snow on the ground. It clears out. It's going to get cold at night, right? That's the high.
They're missing. They're not doing it.
Yeah.
It's too cold.
And it didn't melt there until the end of February. Look how quickly it melted as things. 55. All these 40s. Like spring is here. Fall, spring. So those the numbers there. This one we should gratify actually. This one. All-time record lows. These are the all-time record lows for these areas. And I did something wrong. So then the yellow is still the wait, what? I'm sorry. These are all the 1950 lows. It says that. Okay. And then the yellow ones still stand. What I say? What I do wrong, Carl?
That minus 14 in the Dalles, that's a minus 25.
Where did I miss that one?
Yep.
In
Well,
1950. You don't know.
The data was
I was disagreeing with
screwed up
Carl.
for several years, so.
Okay. Oh,
for
that's
years
why.
we didn't know. Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna get that corrected. Peyton, we gotta get on that. Carl's not
I
gonna have
thought
it.
you should have did this one.
Since I missed it, since I messed it up. Gotta make your own
Just
bed.
get the paint.
People don't know.
But look at Forest Grove, minus 12, minus 11 up in Battleground. Cold stuff. So to get really cold here, you need at least like 6 inches or more of snow, totally calm, clear. That's what you need. We saw that in Eugene in 2013 or 14.
It was negative 10. Yeah.
Negative 10, was it December of 13 when Eugene hit negative 10?
Yeah.
And they had like 10 inches of snow on the ground, calm.
Yep.
We
Not
didn't
a
have
daily
any-
record.
Yeah, we no snow here.
It's
We
always
gotta
10
go.
until that.
Yeah. Timberline Lodge in 1950, they just had a ton of snow. Look at that. 19 inches, 25. Cold. Although that said,
Quick one.
yeah, a lot of thin Arctic air masses, because look how you would expect, at 6,000 feet, if you had a real, hardcore deep Arctic air mass, it should be like 0 or minus 5. At Timberline, you don't see many of those. I mean, for the highs. That's interesting. 11 was the coldest day. It's like, well,
Since we're on the topic, what's your delineation
there we
between
go.
Arctic air and modified Arctic air?
Oh, that's like many
We
text
want
strings
exactly
every
that
winter
number
would be.
too. We don't want to.
You have to
Tanis?
quantify-
How about you,
quantify
Tanis? What do you
you're
use?
saying.
So I have two definitions of an Arctic blast. There's deep Arctic blast, which is negative 12 degrees Celsius at the 850 millibar level over Salem. If that doesn't hit, then I use one of the following, either a 26 degree high or colder at PDX, a 14 degree low or lower at PDX, or 3 degrees or more at 32 degrees, or 3 days in a row where the highs fail to get above freezing. And I just call that a minor Arctic blast instead.
So we still didn't answer your question.
I'm gonna say it's all modified.
It pretty much is.
That's what Pete always says. It's all modified. So he's like, why do we
Somebody
call
said-
modified Arctic air or Arctic air?
Somebody said,
It's not
did this come from
good.
you, that Ira Akosovitz, who used to work at the Weather Service in the 90s, he probably retired around 2005, but he said, we don't get real Arctic air here. I think he's from the East Coast, so he called it modified Arctic air. I don't know.
Yeah.
He didn't like that. He didn't like the
He doesn't like
modified
that.
versus Arctic air.
Yeah, it's coming from the Arctic, I mean, it's gonna moderate on the way here.
So it's modified.
It's modified everywhere.
So it's always modified.
It's called Oregon Arctic air.
Wait, our marine air is modifying in the summer moving inland, so it's modified marine air, right? All right, so moving on. And so this is the day after this. So this is the big storm.
Oh my gosh, that's
Even when I was growing up in Chehalis, or was it Chehalis? When I was growing up in Chehalis, I remember seeing in Seattle there was a big around January 13th, a big snowstorm up there in 1950. So I was aware of this mid-month big snowstorm, and then of course old Helen Wan told me, oh, this big blizzard.
There's a reason why they say if it bleeds, it leads. Good Lord, that is a very negative front page.
Yeah, 5 meet death and numbing coast
Mother,
blizzard.
children perish.
See, it's not just the current news people. They were doing crazy stuff then.
What's the date on that one? I'm sorry.
This is Saturday, January 14th. We're in 1950, January. So this is on the day after. So this would have happened the day before.
What's in the wind?
So it's just interesting. So I had to look this up, and this is back when there was like really good journalism and good stuff there. So it says the mercury race is up, down. So I'm like, oh, that's interesting. So how did this blizzard happen? I had a general idea, but it wasn't quite what I expected. Weather went crazy in Portland. I love how they phrase things back then. So it's kind of interesting. They imply it got kind of warmer and then froze again afterwards. Like, what would cause that?
Did
More voted for
Did more
welfare?
vote for welfare?
Did what? I guess so.
20
That's
million.
funny.
That's
I've
a
looked at
lot.
that a bunch of times, highlighted, never even looked at that. Yeah, but something happened with the British Navy. Oh man, people died in a sub.
yeah.
Okay, so then this goes with the article. So then I was like, oh, look at the hourly temperatures. I know I could find this elsewhere online, but 22 in the afternoon. Clearly, there's a cold east wind blowing in. Especially since I knew Helen lived in Corbett, she said it was a blizzard. So then 22, but then it jumped to 35, then back to 22, and by 10 o'clock it was down in the mid-teens again. So what would make it, get warmer and then cold? kind of weird. And I knew also that Astoria it said numbing coast blizzard, so I looked at Astoria. There was more or less a blizzard there. It stayed below freezing the whole day at Astoria. Longview stayed below freezing the whole day. Salem had all rain during this event, mostly rain during this event. It changed to snow later.
Low pressure comes in over the top of the
Nice. Okay. So, yep. So this is Friday morning, January the 13th. The Friday the 13th storm. I think this is about a 980 low. Now this was the analysis from whoever it is back east. You know, the national NOAA, whatever it was back then, Weather Bureau. The Weather Bureau. And so clearly there was a low there. But by looking at the observations, oh wait. Yeah. Well, snow fell heavily in northeast this is Portland. The downtown section had rain most of the day and partly blue skies later in the afternoon. It doesn't sound like there was a solid, it wasn't an atmospheric river sort of thing. I meant to put this one first, so I kind of screwed that up. Snow began, and then most of the city went back to snow with a few inches later in the evening, even the areas that had been warmed during the day. And even the Willamette Valley, which had been having southerly winds and rain most of Friday. Okay, so clearly there was a low that passed north of Salem, right?
Yeah.
So you saw that other track. So this is what I estimate based on just the observations. I think a low passed almost directly over Portland, which would account for the shifting, the sudden shifting, and south and west metro didn't appear to get snow out of this. All right, the 980 low, that's really deep to come on shore like that. A 980 going like this is kind of a big deal for us. But to come across the state, the Dalles stayed in the cold air. I think LeGrand warmed up and suddenly turned cold. It was rain and Bend, I believe. There was Arctic air sitting just to the north. Yeah, and as soon as it passed by, I noticed, I think it was Newport dropped into the upper 20s with a strong west wind. And if you will follow weather closely, to get upper 20s in Newport with air coming off the ocean, that's a really cold. So I think the low moved across an Arctic boundary here, and immediately the Arctic air surged in behind it. So yeah, that'd be nice. That'd be pretty cool. So just some stats here for 1950 Astoria. This is wrong. This should be, I tried to fix it, but I couldn't find the file last night. It should be down here on Portland. Astoria had 18 inches of snow on the ground by the 15th. A little bit more snow followed this big storm. Downtown Portland, peak snow depth was 7 inches, but at Portland Airport was 15. Troutdale, hard to measure in the snow. We saw the Cascade Locks number. Parkdale, big snow. Timberline, snowy. Dow, snowy. So that's 1950. That was the Friday the 13th storm. So that was a crazy day. In 1930, that's the last time the Columbia totally froze over, that I can tell. Is that correct? Pete, you told me that once, right? People landed a plane, because back then they didn't have regulations and whatnot. They just said, let me land a plane on the river, but if you drown, then I guess they didn't sue anybody, because they just said, that was dumb. You know what I mean? It was just like, we just kind of did it. Yeah. I mean, I don't care how long it was cold, I don't think I'd drive a car across the Columbia River.
With 4 people.
With 4 people in it. There were 4 dumb people in it.
That was before the Bonneville Dam.
Yes.
Yeah, true, but still. Yeah. So this is just to see how cold it was in 1930, January 1930. Look how 19 consecutive days below freezing. It's a long cold spell for us.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm gonna get water while you're talking. Keep talking.
I think the 78, 79 cold spell would have froze that river over.
You think so?
I think so, because they had to take icebreakers up the river to keep the traffic.
I got that coming up too. No, that's good. I don't have these numbers from 78, 79. No, this is good. I said if you got thoughts and things to share. There aren't that many people left that remember that, Pete.
What?
So, 15 consecutive nights below 20 in Portland, and then 4 days with snow. So that was a really cold, look at those highs. All these days, 23, 22, 18, 19, 20. I mean, they must have thought, oh my gosh, when is this ever going to end?
This year that it froze over,
What was that?
1930 it froze over, was that what that was?
Yeah, the last one was 1930, so that was the last time the Columbia totally froze over. Then dams were built, and that didn't help, plus it hasn't been as cold. So, honorable cold mention. Okay, this one I think is a strange one. So, January 1924, I looked this one up because there was a car. I looked, hey, we're on a car on the Willamette River. Oh, and of course, the feat is performed near the Selwyn Ferry. I love that. And first time in 40 years. I just think it's silly, but people like to do that stuff. There was no internet, there was no YouTube. It's like, hey, let's just go drive across the river. What's most interesting, I think, is because look how mild it was. It wasn't that cold. I mean, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. To get the Willamette to freeze enough to drive, I don't know, that just doesn't seem that extreme to me, but I guess
It wasn't regulated.
it must have been very low.
Pretty low, yeah.
Oh,
So, rewinding to the January 1930 cold snap, fun fact with that, the 19 days in a row where we failed to get above freezing is more than Boston or New York's consecutive days below freezing. Their record is 16 in cold.
did you have that in your head?
Yeah, I have. That's just a
Wow.
fact that lives rent free in my head.
That's amazing. I don't know anything. How come you should be giving this talk? That's good.
My mind is literally stats, and that's it.
So I just thought that seemed a little risky. I don't know. I mean, who am I to judge? You know, whatever fun they want to have. Look how dry it was too. No precip. I mean, is that right? No precip. Pretty dry month. And then this is 1979. Last time the Columbia had a lot of ice in the metro area. 14 consecutive days, mainly below freezing. It wasn't as cold as 1930 because there were 2 days where it got to 33. But you can see a ship going through the ice there. Looks like that could be downriver, maybe towards Sauvie Island, maybe. I don't know. And that's at the Interstate Bridge. Nobody was driving a car that day. So this was, and this was for some of you would have already seen this somewhere else, but since I was giving this talk to people historically, they're like, well, so our winters colder? Were they colder in the past? Well, yeah, they are less severe now, but mainly January and February, as you see, we have fewer very cold winters than in the past. But December hasn't changed. But the average of PDX, this is Climate Division 2, so this is the Western Valleys of Oregon. Hasn't actually changed. December has not changed much. We just don't have as many really low spikes, I suppose. January is noticeably warmer. Look at all those. Yeah, there's the 19. Would this be 1930? Must be 37. Wasn't 37 a cold? Yeah. Oh yeah, that was when Sally's car in the snow. Yeah. Yeah. And then 40. Oh, this was 49 and 50. And then what would this be? Was there a big cold spell in 57?
57.
57
Oh,
now.
how do I not know that? Oh, okay. And then I forget what these are. 60. Oh, that's 68. But this is January. Yeah, 69. And then January of 79.
79, yeah.
We just don't have the low spikes like we did.
2017.
Yeah, 17 tried. That was a cold one, and so was what was that? Oh, January of 07?
Oh,
Wait. No, January.
January. No.
Huh. Anyway, we're just not. I mean, 2017 compared to
Consistently cold.
that's 4 or 5 degrees warmer than that. We just don't get the real cold ones.
No.
So that's January, but February probably a lot of us know. February, it's about the same. Right? Oh, no, I guess it's, I don't know, man. February's all over the place each year, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like
Warm Februarys, cold Februarys. But we have had more snow, we know that, right? Oh, here, official Portland snowfall. This is at PDX from the 40s, and it just includes 2020 so far. Okay, and so far, right above the last 4 decades, 5 decades. We'll see what the next. How many more years do we have? 5 more? 5 more?
Including this year.
5 more, so we're halfway through. We'll see. Maybe we won't see snow for the next 5 winters until I retire someday. It did snow a lot more in the late 1800s. If you're maybe new to the area, you've never seen this. This is downtown Portland snowfall records. Notice it's kind of bottomed out at downtown too, but then look at these late 1800s. Wow, it used to average 18, 19, 16 inches a winter.
Mark, that 7.6, I think, was it Peter or Zafino that wasn't taking the records at that was 100 years early, my bad.
Remember, it was wait, you're talking.
You're like 1980s.
7.6. No,
What?
the other one.
1980s.
There you go.
They're not that old.
Was that Zafino or was that Peter?
Are you talking about 1980s? Remember Jim Little once said, okay, you've covered that enough after like I said it in 4 different meetings. We think there's some 1980s snowstorms missing. Or snow events missing in the 1980s downtown because it was a TV station and maybe somebody didn't show up or something. So that's downtown, yeah. So you should snow a lot.